Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Fourth Angels Learning Center. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Jadiel, and today we're going to be continuing our alphabet study, and we are on the letter LAMED. The letter LAMED. So we're going to get right into it. But first, I want to remind everybody, if this is your first video watching, or if you haven't already, subscribe, click the notification bell, so that way you can be updated on the content. One of the biggest things you could do to support this ministry, besides financial gain, is also to share this video to allow this content to reach as many people as it possibly can. All right, so with that being said, let's get into the alphabet study. We are on LAMED. Now, I'm going to pull this up. LAMED. Here we go. All right, so here's the LAMED. It looks like an upside down cane. This is the ancient pictograph. It's a picture of a shepherd's staff with the little hook right there, the loop that goes around, where you try to redirect. The shepherd redirects the sheep or grabs the sheep from moving in the direction they shouldn't move. This is the transitioning aspect of the LAMED to the modern right here, as you can see. And this shepherd's staff, or the letter LAMED, means to teach. It means authority. It also means to yoke. Yoking means to connect something to another thing, to yoke together. And it also means to bind together. So I'm gonna pull out a few principles from this in the book of Deuteronomy. It's very important to grasp the perspective that David is trying to give us here in these next eight verses. So shepherd's staff, it means to teach, authority, to bind. Yeah. So let's look at this. Let's see what principles we can find and establish before going into Psalms 119. All right, so let's go to it. Let me pull up Deuteronomy. We're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 4 first. Deuteronomy chapter 4, looking at verse 10. So it says, especially the day that you stood before Yahuah, your Elohim, in Horeb, when Yahuah said to me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. So this is the emphasis that they may learn. I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days of their life that they shall live on the earth. When we receive Yah's word, when we receive understanding, when we receive this transformation from his word, we then express it. We teach it to our children. That word teach is the Hebrew word. Let me show you guys. H3925, which is the word lamad. The word lamad, which means to teach. It is the rod. You see that? The rod, the shepherd's rod. It also is an emphasis on instructing, learning, skillful, teaching. So very important for us to understand this aspect of Yah's word, of our experience. This aspect of our experience is not necessarily only as a matter of receiving from Yah, learning, but also teaching. You're going to be a teacher regardless. This is the thing that we have to understand. There's many people that run away from being a teacher, or run away from the principle of teaching. But here's the thing. in many different, you can teach in many different ways. You don't necessarily have to be a teacher of the word to expound it to everyone else. You may have other talents, other gifts that help magnify Yah's word to other people. But if you have children, you're going to have to teach them. You're going to have to be a teacher in your home. You're going to have to be a teacher if you're a spouse. You will have to be a teacher in your home. When you have children, when you have relationship with one another, you will have to express your understanding to another person at some point. You know, if you are in love with what Yah has done, if you are consumed with his word, with his precepts, with his law, you will show it to others. It will come out, and you will have to know how to express yourself. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like everyone else, but you do have to be able to express yourself. Let me go up. So it says here, it says, I'm gonna go up right here. Look at what it says about Yah's people, Yah's nation, right? It says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah my Elohim commanded me, that you should do so in the land where you go to possess it. Now watch this. Keep therefore and do them, right? Live it out. For this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes. So this is a implication. It's implying that when Yah teaches us his statutes and judgments, that when we go, wherever we go, it comes out as wisdom and understanding. Meaning that everything that we display or talk or do, or choices that we make, or advice that we give, or business that we perform, we are doing it based off of the wisdom and knowledge that we've received from the statutes and judgments in Yah's word. And when we do that in the sight of the nations, verse 6 says, they shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Why are they saying that? Because when they see us demonstrating Yah's commandments and statutes and judgments, when they see us making decisions and choices and speaking a certain way, they will ask us about those things, and we will be able to teach and expound and share. So when we get down here to verse, what are we looking at? Let's look at verse 9 and 10. It says, only take heed to yourself to keep or guard your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, lest they depart from your heart all the days. Let me highlight that. Lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life, but teach them to your sons and your sons' sons, especially the day that you stood before Yahuwah. Let me put this here. The day that you stood before Yahuwah, your Elohim, in Horeb, when Yahuwah said to me, gather me this people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they should live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. Very important. When you receive the word for lamed, right? The letter lamed means to teach. It also means authority, and it also means to bind. And I'm going to show how those different things play a part. So when you learn Yah's statutes and you understand his principles and you fear Yah, you will express it and begin to teach it. And you will teach it as an authority. It is in your possession. You are a steward of this information, of this truth. So you deliver it in authority. You delivered it in a surety, right? And then the binding aspect occurs, right? This is how you speak to your children. You speak to your children as an authoritative source. You speak to your children like you are the authority that they need to trust, right? So let's look at another verse. Everybody's more familiar with this, Deuteronomy 6, where it says, hear, O Israel, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah is one. You shall love Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart. So you receive it, right? Now watch this. You shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk about them. See that? Shall talk of them. You shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Now watch this. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. Meaning your hand referring to your actions, and frontlets between your eyes referring to your mind. This is your conscience. This is your thought process. This is the way that you think, the way that you understand. And these are the things that you perform and do and obey. This is what it means by binding them on your hand. This is what it means by binding them, and they would be as frontlets in your eyes, between your eyes. Not only that, but it says, you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. Symbolically, this is referencing to everything in your house. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. This is what it's talking about, that you are in control. You are the authority, making sure that your house, you write them on the posts of your house, and everything in your house has to line up with what you are learning and teaching. Very important. It's a standard. This is referring to the standard. The scriptures, the Torah, his word is the standard of life, of living, of your home, of your being. Like when you're outside, it is your standard in a world full of darkness. So this is what this is referring to by binding. You know, you are binding this understanding in the minds of those around you. Look, it even says, and on your gates. Let me just go to one thing. In Exodus 20, when it talks about the Shabbat, it talks about who shouldn't do work. It says in verse 10, but the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah your Elohim. In it you shall do no work, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle. And then it says, nor your stranger that is within your gates. The stranger that is within your gates, so the foreigner, the person that's not a part of your immediate household, he or she has to abide by the understanding that you've learned from Yah in your house, the stranger that is within your gates. Why? Because you wrote it on your doorpost, on the posts of your house, and on your gates. This is what it says in Deuteronomy. Let's go back there. It says in verse 9, it says, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. So no one can come into your house and your gates and disrespect the standard that is placed in your home. That comes by what you've learned, and it also comes by what you have taught in your home. So whether you like it or not, you have to be a binding source of authority in your home, where when you say something, it is understood. When you reveal what Yah says, your house abides by that. Let's look at what David says now. Go into Psalms 119. Let's look at that. Psalms 119. We're on the letter LAMED. And it's going to show, there we go, the modern right here. This is how the modern looks. LAMED. So let's pay attention now. This is talking about authority. Look at what it says. Forever, O Yahuwah, your word is settled in the heavens. Your faithfulness is unto all generations, and you have established the earth, and it abides. They continue this day according to your ordinance. For all are your servants. He's talking about creation. They all serve Yah. They all obey. It is established. It is a binding. It's binded. It says, unless your Torah had been my delights, I should have been perished in my affliction. Meaning that if my mind wasn't consumed and received so much comfort and blessing from your word, then when I started to feel stress and persecution and anguish and affliction, I would have died. I would have been depressed. I would have quit. I would have given up. I would have sacrificed myself. It says, I will never forget your precepts, For with them you have made me alive. Yah is using his word to make us alive. He is teaching us his word. His shepherd staff is what allows us to be revived, saved, right? It says in verse 94, I am yours, save me, for I have sought for your precepts. The wicked have waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider your testimonies. I have seen an end of all perfection, but your commandments is exceeding broad, meaning like there's so much more to what Yah is revealing, what Yah says, what he commands. So this is very important. I want to focus on these 3 verses here, verse 92 to 94. It says, unless your Torah have been my delights, I should have perished in my affliction. We have to understand you have to time yourself, right? You give yourself 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes wallowing in whatever stress or struggle you have going on, it's going to extend. And the plan of the adversary, the plan of the enemy is to allow it to keep going until you are perished, until you are gone, until your mind is gone. But when you redirect your mind during this time of affliction, Yah's word becomes your delight. It becomes your comfort. And not only does it become your comfort, it gives you strength. It's verse 93. I will not forget your precepts, for with them you have made me alive. Yah uses them to give us that motivation, to give us that fire. But when we're not consumed by them, we're focusing on all these things that promote death, that promote darkness, that promote sadness. Philippians 4:8, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are pure, meditate on those things. Think on those things rather than all the things that you cannot change. It says, I am yours, save me, because I have sought your precepts. The wicked waited for me to destroy me, but I will consider your testimonies. Instead of focusing on how much other people want to do something to you, focus. Allow Yah's word to be the authority. He shows you this, right? In the very first verses, that his word is the authority over your mind. It says, O yahuah, it says forever, O yahuah, your word is settled in heaven. Your faithfulness unto all generations, you have established the earth and it abides. It stays. They continue this day according to your ordinances, meaning like the earth and the heavens, they function because Yah said it, because his word said it. It says, for all are your servants. So then it says, unless your Torah had been my delights, I would have perished in my affliction. He's telling you that the authority, the LAMED, the authority of Yah is in his word, and his word is established on earth already. It's established in front of our eyes in nature. So we have to allow it to be established in us, in our minds and in our hearts. We have the power and the freedom to establish his Torah in our mind. The same words that has established the heavens and the earth are the same words that he wants us to establish in our minds and in our hearts. If we do not establish his word as the authority, if we don't look at the word of Yah and allow it to transform our way of thinking, of feeling, if we are perplexed, if we are in fear, and we do not allow Yah's word to give us comfort, it is because we do not believe, or we are in doubt, or we are allowing fear to convince us more than his word, to give us more what I would say, credibility. Like we are giving more credibility to the fear, more credibility to the problem, rather than to his promises. So his word is the authority. We have to look at it. He made the heavens, and they still follow his authority in his word. So we, if it wasn't for his Torah, we would have perished in our affliction. But we allowed his word to have the authority over us. We allowed him to bind his word in our hearts and in our minds, to deliver us, right? To deliver us from that fear, to deliver us from that weakness. So we have to make sure that we remember to keep that in mind, because by straying or doubting that aspect of his teaching, the authority that his teaching has, the authority that his word has, the assurance that's inside his promises, when we move that out the way, we end up weaker and we end up vulnerable for the enemy to cause us to perish, to quit, to be depressed, to be saddened, to destroy us. We gotta stay focused. We have to continuously understand that what Yah says is the authority and that we ought to bind it in our minds and in our hearts. So I hope that this was a word of encouragement to everyone, helping us to understand what things we may be slacking, what things we may be overlooking as well, to put it into place to allow us to have a more fulfilling walk with Yah, So praise Yah. I hope that this was strengthening and motivating to everybody. I look forward to the next Aleph Bet letter. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.